I'm sure that you know that our purpose today, the purpose of our lesson is to give a special blessing and appreciation and celebration for our beloved John Scott and the contributions he's made to our ministry, and particularly through the Course in Miracles, but many other ways. And as I look back over the years, as best I could tell, John has been an active member of our church for at least 33 years. And that's a pretty significant amount of time, I think. And I just have to say that with an emphasis on the word active. Active. And in fact, he's been so active, it takes the whole alphabet from A to Z to describe some of the ways that John has given to our community. And I'd like to share that with you now. A stands for A Course in Miracles, that he has been the facilitator of for more than, 20-some years. Maybe he'll tell us. B is for the backdoor bench warmer. He's keeping that bench warm. And great. C is for the crystal dome at the top of the gazebo. That was John's vision to make that happen. And he went around and gathered commitments. And D is for deviled eggs, his favorite food that he loves to bring for potlucks. E is for election days. So many times he was here at 5 a.m. to open the church and lock up at 9 o'clock when our church is rented out for an election. F is for Friendship Hour, a team that he's been part of for many years. G is for the gazebo. He was indispensable. For 10 years, he worked tirelessly to make sure that was completed. H is for a helper to anyone in need. And he has always been there for people, whether it's Rosie or people, anybody in their home, they needed something fixed, John was there. I is for the ideas that he has brought, always ideas on how we can do things better. J is for Jack of all trades. Because when I first got here, I don't think we could afford to pay anybody to fix the building, so anything that needed fixing, plumbing, electrical, carpet, it was John that did it. Jack of all trades. K is for kitchen. You just got to love a man who likes to spend time in the kitchen. And L is for labyrinth. That was his vision, to see that we had that labyrinth. Why don't you just stay up here, because we're going to show the video right after, and then you guys can go down. L is for labyrinth. M is for maintenance, building maintenance. He's been indispensable in helping us maintain and repair our building. N is for newsletter articles. The first few years I was here, he wrote wonderful articles for our newsletter, and I'm going to share a little bit of one in a bit. O is for on call. He was on call, and he always responded to the call. P is for pecans. I don't know anybody who can sell pecans better than John. Q is for quest. He's always been questing for deeper meaning and deeper understanding about life and just life. R is for rum balls. He used to bring these fabulous rum balls for our Christmas potlucks. S is for Sunday service guest speaker. He's done many services here at our church. T is for Tennyson. I don't hear anybody else around here that can quote Tennyson on the drop of a hat, but John's got it. U is for our Unity Peace Park that John has always supported and stood for. V is for Voice Buffalo and his support of that. W is for the World Peace meditation services that he led for many years on New Year's Eve morning. X is fill in the blank. You put in your own answer what you see. Y is for your friend, because he's been our friend for many years. And Z is for zeal, because he's done all these things with zeal. And I figure if he's following in the footsteps of Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, who at 94 years old said, "I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm as I leap forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me," then I figure we got a lot more years to look forward to with John. So I can't, I'm so grateful for that. And honestly, John wrote wonderful, wonderful articles for our newsletter, and I went back and found one. September, October 2003, John wrote, back in the medieval times, when I was a kid in school, unsmiling teachers armed with 12-inch metal-edged wooden rulers made very sure that we committed to memory 200 lines of poetry of their choosing. There would be questions in June about verses learned the previous October, and as a result, rhythmic couplets that had no meaning for me then now surface in my consciousness with delightful new meaning. I think it was Emerson who wrote that I am the captain of my fate and the master of my soul. Written, I am the captain of my fate and the master of my soul, goes right to the heart of A Course in Miracles. And what an uplifting thought that is. If I access my higher power or Christ within or divine mind, providence, supreme being, whatever name you use for God, it makes you comfortable then. I am in control of my destiny. And that's an awesome thought. If I feel shredded by the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, I cannot blame some individual or some group I don't like. I can only try to change my thought system. And that is what the Course is all about. It's not a religion, it's a thought system designed to help us remove the mental blocks that prevent us from seeing the love that is all around us. Always has been and it always will be. And it's called a course because it's meant to be studied, not idly perused. So yes, this is momentous stuff. It is all about seeing the divinity in every human being. And it's all about seeing the illusory nature of fear and guilt. It's all about forgiveness, what the Course calls a happy fiction, and ultimately inner peace. The Course is challenging, discomforting, unsettling, and somewhat destructive to your comfort zone. But it's also enlightening, empowering, and inspiring. That is why we meet on Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Come and grow with us. John Scott. 2003. So those words could be spoken every bit today as 2003. So now we want to, some of you came to see is that Kelly and Anna Kay did an interview with John Scott, and it's been videotaped, and Kelly's going to set it up now. What I'd like, Karen, is could you dim the lights? I think we'll be able to see it better, but it's just a marvelous interview, and I just want to thank Kelly for her gifts and talents that make this possible. And so we'll watch this now.
Yeah. Thank you so much. She took the best of everything that we contributed. One day, a few weeks ago, I was driving out in Niagara Falls, and I passed a doorway that had a sign over it that said, "You break it, I fix it." And that reminded me of John. He was our fix-it man for so many years, and he was retired, so he had time, he had talent, and he had tools. And he tithed them, he shared. And there's a lot around here that needs to be kept up and maintained, and things get broken. And he knew how to fix everything, and if he didn't know how to fix it, he found a way. And if he absolutely couldn't do it, then we would call in an electrician or a plumber or whatever was needed. And he gave from his heart. He never expected payment of any kind. And he was so faithful to has been so faithful to the Course in Miracles group. And I want you to know that so many lives have been touched by that group. Not only the people that came to the group, but also their families and their friends benefited from everyone who participates. So I just, I don't know what we'd do without John. So thank you, John. We love you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. He's trying to shut me up. Yeah. When talking about John Scott, it's really hard to be brief. It's not that there isn't a lot that could be said. It's just that he's never brief. What does John Scott mean to me? Well, you saw the video. He, along with Anna Kay, got me involved with Voice Buffalo, which eventually taught me a lot about organizing and responsibility. He was always there on Saturday mornings, helping build the gazebo, and afterward being a steadfast volunteer for the 3 Gs, that is the Garden Grounds and Gazebo team. With regard to sawing a piece of lumber, he once told me, I cut it twice, and it still comes up short. If it was cleaning up or clearing out, John was ready and willing. John showed ingenuity and determination when it came to moving the storage shed from the far corner of the parking lot up to close to the church where it is now. He even dragged Vera, his girlfriend at the time, to push the shed with her gleaming classic Cadillac. While we adjusted the PVC pipes that we had placed under the shed and rolled it up the parking lot. It was truly a sight to behold. That one incident taught me to be patient in the face of a problem to which the solution isn't immediately known. Faith can generate creative ideas, even if you don't want to risk your vehicle in a harebrained scheme like that. John has always been a committed, capable, and strong pillar of our spiritual community. You might think it's because he's an angel in disguise. Not so. He's just been making up for the many sins of his misspent youth. So, what is next in the saga of Mr. Scott? God only knows, but it will be interesting. At 90 years and counting, John would like to outlive us all. But let it be said, as long as John is with us, we're going to love him, appreciate him, and behold the Christ in him. I certainly do.
Oh, thank you, Steve. Thank you. So, as you can hear, there's just, boy, it's just immeasurable, the number of ways in which John, and number of people that John has touched, at a very deep heart level, and our community as a whole. And so we wanted to allow a few minutes for other people to share if you'd like. If you could just kind of keep in mind the length of time for sharing. Hannah Kay.
I've known John for a long time, and I've been aware of all the things that people have talked about, the way he extended himself to help people and to help in the church and to reach out. He was always there moving somebody who needed help with moving. But I want to mention particularly Voice Buffalo. I got together with John just to do a conversation, just to get to know him better. And before I knew it, he as soon as he sees a need, he's in. He's there. I wasn't trying to recruit him, but all of a sudden he was a mainstay of the core team. You know about the pecan sales, but also virtually everything our church has been involved with, Voice fundraisers, Voice actions. John has been present and been a part of it, and I'm so grateful to him for everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to say? and tell us your name. You're part of the Course Miracles group, right? Yeah.
My name's Janine. One of the nuances of the Course is that it says the same thing in a lot of different ways to kind of trick us into letting it in. And one of my favorite lines, and when I think of John, I think of this, is it says, "Into the hand that gives, the gift is given." And personally, I am just very grateful to you, John, for always being there on Tuesday nights and for what you've given to me as a facilitator of that course. So thank you.
Thank you, Janine. Is there anyone else that would like to say something? Or so, well, we'll certainly have a lot of time to visit after the service. We have a wonderful celebration. Okay, just want to make sure. Georgia, are you sure you? Georgia, we can't.
Well, what? Oh, you gone and did it. Should have known I couldn't trust you. When Kevin showed me that you can't even paint the wall without messing up, sticking your foot in the paint.
Oh.
Now, how you like them beans? Well, let's get serious now. This is my beloved. After his companion left, I took over. And he's been everything I thought he ought to be, and he could be. But now I want you to know that he was my teacher in the Course in Miracles. And what I learned from you, dear God, is how to love and live a good life. And thank you so much, for you have done a miracle on me. And I thank you all so much. And I do want to mention the fact that I'm sitting here with him is because he now belongs to the 90 Club. And I got to make sure that he don't embarrass me.
Okay.
So excuse me if I sit here and keep patting on him. That means behave yourself. So thank you so much for getting...
When we met, I told Georgia my mother was born in Georgia. And since she was a Georgia peach, that made me a son of a peach, and we've gotten along ever since.
Oh, so thank you so much, John, for being there for me. And I hope that I was there for you. You never told me. So thank y'all for laughing. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Georgia. Thank you. Okay.
I draw to myself, basically. I'm not a victim of the world. I cannot blame anyone but me for what happens to me. And the karma doesn't come to bind you, it comes to free you. So that once where you made a wrong decision, now you can choose once again. So I'll ask you, find a comfortable position in your seat, and I'll share with you some of the thoughts that have become ingrained in me. And thank you so much for your tributes this morning. They weren't deserved. I certainly appreciate it. God is the light in which I see. God is the mind with which I think. God is the strength in which I trust. God is the love in which I forgive. I forgive, and I am happy. And the great teaching from the Course is that forgiveness itself is what it calls a happy fiction. Because when you first have not condemned, there is no need to forgive. So we forgive until we learn not to condemn. And the most difficult lesson I have ever had, and I'm still having, is I try to consider every human being one of God's creations, and we should never condemn any creation from God. And I know some nasty people, and I have to find myself not condemning them, and it's tough, but that's the goal. We are created in the image and likeness of Almighty God. And it behooves us to remember that. Do not condemn anything that God has made. Believe that. But don't believe a lot of the garbage they told you earlier on about me. Thank you.